Space, the final frontier. This is the Observer's Notebook, the official podcast of the Association of Lunar and Planetary Observers. Its mission to explore the solar system, to seek out new observations and data, to boldly go where no podcast has gone before. And now the host of the Observer's Notebook, Tim Robertson.
Hello and welcome to episode 194 of the Observer's Notebook, the official podcast of the Association of Lunar and Planetary Observers. I'm Tim Robertson, the host of the podcast, and also the coordinator of the training program within the ALPO. Thanks for downloading and listening. The Association of Lunar and Planetary Observers collects and analyzes observations of various solar system bodies and associated phenomenon, and publishes detailed reports concerning these bodies in its quarterly publication, the Journal of the Association of Lunar and Planetary Observers. This podcast depends upon donations from you, our listeners, to keep it going. If you do enjoy what you hear on the podcast, you can donate to it via Patreon by giving as little as $1 a month. If you feel even more generous, for $5, you receive early access to the podcast before it goes public. For a monthly donation of $10, you receive a copy of the Novice Observer's Handbook. And for $35 a month, you receive producer credits on the podcast. You can find out more by going to www.patreon.com/observersnotebook. And if you'd like to join the ALPO, membership begins at only $22 a year. For more information, find us on the internet at our brand new website, www.alpo-astronomy.org. And you can also find the ALPO on Facebook. Just search for ALPO Astronomy. And this podcast also has a Facebook page as well. Just search for Observer's Notebook. And if you enjoy what you hear in the podcast, please subscribe. That way you'll never miss another episode. And now, episode 194. And we're talking Observe the Moon Night. Enjoy. All right, I'd like to welcome everybody back to this edition of the Observer's Notebook podcast. And today we have with us Andrea Jones. She's the director of the International Observe the Moon Night. She's also the public engagement lead for NASA Goddard's Solar System Exploration Division and NASA's Lunar Reconnaissance Orbiter. Welcome to the podcast, Andrea.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be here.
Yeah. Now, what inspired you to become involved with the International Observe the Moon Night?
Ooh, well, my background is in both astronomy and geology. And after grad school, I was looking for a place to get involved in this and found a job doing planetary science outreach at NASA. And the first year I was at Goddard was the first year of International Observe the Moon Night. So really, it was a duties as assigned at the time. I got hired on to work with the Lunar Reconnaissance Orbiter mission and others. And this mission was the start, along with our sister mission, the Lunar Crater Observing and Sensing Satellite, for getting people back excited about the moon and having an annual event to continue sharing updates and getting the celebration to continue.
It sounds fantastic. Now, can you give just a brief history of the International Observe the Moon Night and its main objectives?
Yeah. So in 2009, the Lunar Reconnaissance Orbiter and the Lunar Crater Observing and Sensing Satellite LCROSS launched. And at NASA Goddard and NASA Ames, we had big parties to celebrate we're at the moon. And there was so much interest in both of those events and so much energy and excitement that we decided, hey, let's do this again, but let's do this bigger. Let's make a National Observe the Moon Night. But we never did, because right away, international partners started being interested. So in 2010, we had our first International Observe the Moon Night. And the idea was to provide a way to let people know what was going on in lunar science and exploration from NASA, and also from ESA and other space agencies and research groups around the world. And then to lean into our personal and cultural connections to the moon. Like, the moon is just featured in arts and culture and language and poetry and everything all around the world. And this is an opportunity for people to celebrate those personal connections, to learn about how their communities are associated, and to get those annual updates. So the core has remained the same.
Okay.
Over the years, we've grown, developed, had some tools get better, we hope, but still the same idea. It's just a time to observe, to learn about, and to celebrate the moon. And we provide some resources to help you do that.
Okay. So what are some of the key steps involved in planning and organizing this huge event?
So our main tool that we offer is our website. So moon.nasa.gov/observe has lots of information about our program, and it also has a lot of resources. So in order to participate in International Observe the Moon Night, it's really flexible. So we encourage people to either host an event, to participate in an event, or to participate as either a family or a community group or an individual. And so this can involve like planning something new. Like we have some museums and science centers that have, a special Observe the Moon event. At Goddard, we certainly have one every year that's specific to this event. But others have, a monthly observing, platform. So they have communities that get together, or book clubs organized once a month, or teachers are interested in a topic for, the fall, and whether that is history or math or science or art or anything. So it's really just take this idea of featuring the moon, of learning about the moon, of celebrating the moon from a historical, scientific, whatever you like perspective, and run with it. And so on our website, we have activity suggestions. If you're hosting an event, we have moon maps that are for that day. So every year we have a team member who creates a new moon map that shows actually 3 PDFs or 1 digital moon map of the lunar mare that you can see that evening, of the human landing sites that are visible on that day, and also of some really neat telescopic objects to observe. So I feel like I'm rambling here, but we always choose a first quarter moon phase, and that's because we think it's really exciting to look at the moon during a first quarter when it's high in the sky in the evening, and also has that wonderful world that you can really picture and imagine yourself hiking on and sliding down into these craters and up these mountains. And so we point to some of those that are really fun to see at that lunar horizon, like that line between day and night along the terminator. And that's something that's really interesting to look at through a telescope. So lots of resources on our website. But really, it's a very flexible program, and we really encourage flexibility both on many, many aspects. And I can talk more about that if you're interested.
Sure. The last few days, I've done a deep dive into your website. It's really good. The amount of information you have there is really, really extensive. How is this an annual event, or how frequently do you hold it? Once a year?
Yes.
Okay.
This is an event that we hold each fall, each Northern Hemisphere fall. It's in September or October each year. We target a first quarter moon phase because it's highest in the sky in the evening, which is a convenient time to observe or to hold an event. And also, it's not so bright that from the moon, you can also observe planets or other things in the sky. And we encourage people to start with the moon, but then continue observations of the sky, of the world around you. So we always target then. And then we have sort of a flexible date a little bit. So we have an official date each year, but we understand that not everyone can participate on that day. So we have sort of a participation window that's about the weekend before to the weekend afterwards. But yes, every year, this event is for everyone, everywhere, every year is how we talk about it.
Fantastic. What are some of the most memorable community activities or events you've seen?
So, I mean, there are so many wonderful moments over the 15 years of this program, and most of those occur on a personal level. Okay. So we have supporters around the world who've sent in videos of, their setups of telescopes along city streets. Like the moon is visible even from really, light polluted areas. And then also from out in the middle of the woods, in the middle of dark areas. But a lot of people, it turns out, have looked at the moon through a telescope for the very first time on International Observe the Moon Night. And it is so powerful to witness that first glimpse and people saying, wow. And, all kinds of just amazing feelings associated with giving someone a chance to just pause. And I mean, the moon is out often. It's often in the sky, but how often do we each stop, pause, take a moment to just appreciate it, to observe it, to be in awe of its beauty? And this is a chance to do that. And so we have a lot of people who have witnessed that for the first time. And there are some really beautiful things I've learned from helping lead this program over many years. And one of my favorite ones was we've been working with some military families, and it turns out a lot of deployed field members or deployed service members look at the moon when they're overseas while their families at home are observing the moon. Oh. And I thought that was really amazing. And then through the pandemic, we had a lot of that as well. Like my family and I, we weren't getting together as so many people weren't. And we all still could go and look at the moon and observe the moon together. And so it's a way to connect with loved ones who are far apart, or just with people around the world, that sense of community of, wow, there are 1 million people right now observing the moon, over the course of the day together. I mean, that's remarkable. That feels very powerful to me, and is just such a rush of an experience and emotion, and just, it makes me feel good to be part of this.
Yeah, there's just a shared community experience. We're all doing the same thing at the same time. That's exciting. Yeah. I like that. And it's the moon. I mean, it's there.
It is.
Yeah.
It's so fun. And it's also been really special to see how it's been a hook to, continued observation. So, at NASA for International Observe the Moon Night, we start with the moon, but then again, we continue, we encourage people to continue observations and learning afterwards. And some people have, started at NASA since then and said, hey, I got, I went to International Observe the Moon Night and it was great. And have become solar system ambassadors, have become people who pay more attention to the moon, have become people who have made space science and taken more time for observing since then. And to be any part of that is just a really such an honor and such a privilege to be even a little piece in that puzzle.
Yeah, being an amateur astronomer, the moon to a lot of amateurs is a bad thing. It's
I know.
You go out when the moon's not there because you can see more stuff. But as a member, I'm the associate director of the Association of Lunar and Planetary Observers. We love the moon. I mean, we have 5 different sections focusing different areas of lunar observing in our organization. And we have astronomers from all over the world contributing to it. So I'm really happy to see this Observe the Moon Night. I really am, because it brings the moon back to the forefront.
Well, I'm so glad to hear that. And yes, I mean, I know that there's a lot of hard feelings against the moon when it's blocking all those deep sky objects or washing them out. But it is in its own right, as you well know, and as your community well knows, just such a remarkable object to really just, again, imagine the exploration of other worlds. So for absolutely the moon, I mean, that's my favorite object to look at through a telescope. No surprise. But I think it also helps me better picture the other worlds that I can't see in as a detailed a view through my backyard telescope. So I can't, see the craters on, moons that are farther out in the solar system, but I think I have a better sense of how I can imagine them with the experience of observing the moon, just through a telescope. I love looking at NASA imagery, of course. I hope many of us do, but it's a little more removed. And I feel like the moon is a stepping stone to helping understand those other places as worlds in their own right.
Very good. Now, when you look at the moon through a telescope, do you have a favorite feature on the moon that you like to look at?
I mean, gosh, I can't think of just a single one. I mean, okay. I think I spend a lot of my time with first-time lunar observers. So I really like to help people understand some of the objects that may be less interesting to advanced observers. But I mean, the idea of the lunar mare, for example, and how they got their name, and how people used to think that there were oceans on the moon and beachfront property and palm trees and bring your bring your sunscreen and your lounge chairs and hang out there. And then, oh, they are oceans, but basalt. This is a slightly different ocean. And just like the idea of how we've learned over time, and even just discussions of those circular features and what are they, and how actually for a very long time, the scientific community did not know whether they were volcanoes or impact craters, and the raging debate in the scientific community to determine what they were, and then how we've gone to the moon and collected samples and learned so much about the history of the moon and our world by studying the moon. And Tycho is just like a personal favorite also, because it's just so beautiful. And I do work with the Lunar Reconnaissance Orbiter team, and the image of the Tycho Central Peak with the crazy boulder on top that like reshaped our understanding of how impact craters across the solar system form. Like, this is just remarkable. So I don't have a single favorite, but I love wandering along the Terminator just to see the sunrises and sunsets on the moon. Is just
different every night too. It's different every night. That's the thing.
Yeah.
So, as you being the director, what are some of the biggest challenges you face in organizing this event every year?
Let's see. I think the challenge, they're technical. Like, how do we keep breaking our moon map, which is fantastic because we have so many people registering on our website that we've pushed the limits of Google Maps, which is really cool. So that's like a really fun technical challenge. And, but we do continue to update that. And that is just a fun one because I love seeing like our map of people around the world. Like, hey, there's someone in Indonesia, and hey, there's someone in Antarctica. We have all 7 continents participating, and oh, there's my mom over in like New Jersey, and just different. Seeing that is just like, again, that sense of community. I think something that is not challenging is getting people interested and invested and being creative with this space. So the challenges that we face are all on like, updating everything for this year, culling down the amount of information to share because there's so many things that are going on with the moon right now. And we feel it's a service that we offer is to share some of the highlights. So every year we talk about, here's some of the biggest things that are going on right now. Okay. So if you want to catch up from your couch, or if you are, an amateur astronomy group and you talk about all kinds of things and not just the moon, here are some of the things you might want to share for this particular event. So finding the resources to do that. But really it's mostly really fun and just trying to get people interested and helping people feel confident and feel like they can be a part of this, because we provide the idea, we provide the backbone resources, but it's yours. It's everyone out there who participates and has it, and it's in their community and it's their event with their people. We want to make it as easy as possible for you to feel ownership of this in your community and with your family and your friends or whoever you're with. And so trying to get the word out and get people interested and invested and continuing to make it grow and work best for them is what we work on.
I love your passion for this. I really do. It's infectious. I want to get out there and look at the moon now. So do you have future goals for the organization or the Observe Your Moon Night?
So we really just want to continue sort of along this path. We have some pretty big dreams for the program. So we want to unite people across the globe in a celebration of lunar observation and science and exploration. And that's a pretty big goal to do that. And it's a reach one, but we're working towards it. And like we want to continue raising awareness of NASA lunar science and exploration, of course, from NASA, but we also want to empower people to learn more on their own and help them do that and offer resources and be another conduit of facilitating sharing. So it's great to share the science and the exploration, but it's also really fun to find out what people share among themselves. And so we've done this in different pulses over time. Like during the Apollo 50th anniversary, we really encouraged younger people to talk with family members, community members, others to learn about like, what was it like to witness that and have that be something that the younger generation was able to have that conversation in a way that we, like, I think there's a lot of missed opportunities for me with my grandparents. Like, what should I have asked them? I don't really know. Like, there's so many things, and I hope I got a lot of the questions in. But providing, a nudge towards, hey, what was it like to witness that? And like, oh, we have this story in our culture about the moon. Like, tell me more about that. Or maybe I didn't even know. Like, is there something I should know? So trying to facilitate that and sharing, like, across cultures and across people, and just continue to inspire people to want to learn more. I mean, that's such a big goal, and any way that we can participate it. But if we can be a spark for any number of people who want to then continue learning, that we've done a good job. If you become more curious, if you want to learn more from participating in this program, that is a win.
Have you witnessed that?
Yes, I have. And that has been wonderful. And we do actually quite extensively evaluate our program. We think it's important to find out how we're doing. And so we ask lunar observers, we ask hosts about, the resources that we offer and what else we can do. And we ask people whether they've learned anything by participating in International Observe the Moon Night. And we ask people whether they're interested in learning more. And our overwhelming answers from people around the world are yes. So I've seen that on a small scale, which is, of course, the most rewarding, but also knowing that ripple effects has gone larger is just really wonderful. And so the stories people share, keep us going and keep us motivated to keep doing this.
Wow. How has your personal involvement with this event influenced your own understanding and appreciation for the moon?
I think that I spend a tremendous amount of my day thinking about the moon, thinking about space, thinking about planetary science. It is unbelievably amazing that is my job. And I understand that not everyone spends their days doing this. And so, I mean, over time, like, there are lunar science points and space science points in classrooms that teachers teach. And there are things that, as citizens of the world, not every person may know how the moon influences our daily lives, or how lunar exploration could have an impact on your life from a day-to-day perspective. And I think that the opportunity to help lead a global event where we help spark some of those conversations about, like, why does the moon matter to you as a person? And, in conversations with astronomy clubs and museums and science centers and classrooms and in different places, helping people think more about the moon and how it affects us, and how actually, like, science and exploration and NASA, our goal is to do this to benefit humanity. It's been really fun to be able to get into some of those conversations that are both inspiring and exciting, and also, like, help people understand what we do and why we do it.
Okay, this International Moon Night, it's a NASA program.
Yes.
Now, can you talk about any other collaborations or partnerships that have been integral in the success of this?
Yeah. So, I mean, it is a NASA program, but we have a whole lot of people all around the world who are part of this, and we have a supporter network. So we have an international partnerships lead on our team, and she reaches out and spends a lot of time talking with different space agencies. We have team members who have been working on the UN level, trying to help make connections there. We have partnerships with World Space Week. So we have a lot of different organizations where, like, Moon Day is a fairly big event, UN sanctioned, and that's on July 20th, celebrating the anniversary of the moon landing. Our focus is a little bit different. It's not only on human exploration, but it's on, lunar science and exploration, but also personal and cultural connections to the moon. So instead of thinking those are two different things, we each highlight the other's event and opportunity. And so we are always interested in working with, Astronomers Without Borders, others like the International Dark Sky Festival, or association and festivals, different ones. So we are a very inclusive group. We work with lots of different branches of NASA. We've been working recently with the Office of International Relations and working with the State Department, for example, and embassies in different countries, encouraging participation there, with the National Science Foundation, like trying to just garner. It's really, there's not, I don't know, there's just a lot of different ways to participate. And so we have been trying to reach out to a lot of different groups and saying, how could this work for you? How can this help accomplish goals that you already have for your program? And how can we offer something else for your audience? And then we can point to other opportunities throughout the year that our audience might be interested in. So we don't have formal partnerships. We have really supporter networks. And then we work with a lot of the different offices within NASA and their networks as well. But many of those reach over international borders. And a lot of that's been grassroots as well, from interest from other groups in other countries. And some of our most ardent supporters are people who have just found out about this. And then like in Spain, oh my gosh, the connections and networks they have there, it's just wonderful. And in many places, Indonesia has been very, very supportive. It's wonderful. So some of it's on a very high level, but a lot of it's community driven. And I think that has made it really, really wonderful as well.
Yeah, I saw your list of supporters on your website, and part of my job in the ALPO is outreach. So we definitely would like to be a supporter of this too. So any way you can help us out with that, we will definitely do whatever we can.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that would be wonderful. And we should certainly talk more about that. And I think that we also have known that your network is just incredible. And you have so many different ideas. And one of our team members, Brian Day, has been like, hey, we should send special challenges to your network in particular, because you're some of the most exciting and creative lunar observers out there. And he's like, I think I got some challenge objects that are even beyond the program moon maps. Let's see what we can do here. And so the Astronomical League has been, a group that we've been working with for a long time on lunar observations. Mm-hmm. But, your network as well. I think it would be fun to see how can we make this as interesting and engaging for each different audience who's interested. So that would be great.
Absolutely. Yeah. We really want to throw our hat in there and help you out too, and help us out.
Yeah. I think that's the important part, is that it's both. We want to be real partners in the different groups that we work with. So that's important to us.
Now, I talked about your website early on, and how has technology impacted the way International Observer the Moon Night is celebrated and shared?
Yeah. So, I mean, if anyone has participated over many years, hopefully you've seen the ease of use for our website improve. We've invested heavily in that and trying to make it as user-friendly as possible. But I think that with a tremendously talented web team, we've been able to have things hopefully sorted better. So we have many different resources. Some of them we've already discussed, but we have how to host an event, how to find a partner, a lot of partners. So we have amateur astronomy groups that connect with schools or libraries. And we have, some Girl Scout troops or Boy Scout troops who college professors to come partner. So there's a lot of partnering involved in this program. So we have some resources to help with that on our website. We also have seen, an uptick in hybrid events and virtual events. We have a lot of conversations on social media. So choose your favorite social media platform. And if you use the hashtag Observe the Moon, you can both share how you're participating and share your experience, but also browse what else is going on around the world. So here's what the moon looks like from Australia right now. Here's what it looks like from Italy. Here's what it looks like from Alaska, and just appreciating that, of course, this is a day that we want everyone to observe the moon, but it's not actually visible to everyone on Earth, depending on where the moon is in its orbit. So we know that some far northern or southern latitudes can't necessarily see it, and technology allows us to point to pictures from the Lunar Reconnaissance Orbiter spacecraft, for example, or to Moon Trek, or to Moon Diff, which is a citizen science project where you can help NASA scientists study the moon, or you can technology is another place that we lean in with our encouragement of people to be really creative with how they observe. So we definitely love it when people go outside and observe the moon. That is amazing. And if you can get a telescope or binoculars, wonderful. But if you can't, like, you should still be able to see it from most places. But if you are not able to see, or if you're not able to safely go outside, then technology allows us different platforms to share, the moon, and also to have different sensory experiences. So you can listen to moon-inspired music. We also have some science teams who have sonified their data, and like you can listen. Like right now, my favorite one is out of commission for the moment, but you could listen to like the radiation environment at the moon, because the team like made the different energies of particles have different sounds.
Wow.
So that's a different way. Like there's also the ability to like find, like through Moontrek or other places, 3D files to make your own 3D prints of the lunar surface. So you can like go to a library or a makerspace and like print out what the moon might feel like at different exaggerations or different scales, and you could like feel the lunar surface. So technology has really enabled connections across vast distances. We also have a NASA TV broadcast that anyone with an internet connection is welcome to watch, and it'll be recorded. But we have some really exciting things in store for that this year. It's going to come out on September 14th on our website and on NASA Plus. So technology hopefully will enable people to safely participate regardless of where they are and what their circumstances may be, as long as they have internet access.
So International Observing the Moon Day is what day?
September 14th, 2024.
September. Okay. So how would you want people to get involved?
So a lot of different ways to participate. So I would say, again, you can, if you are planning some sort of event, it's already August, so it's kind of hard to plan something new now. But if you have something planned, make it moon themed if you can. Like bring in, are you doing a DJ set on a radio? Like make it a moon themed set. Are you going to be, having a dinner party? See what you can have related to the moon. Like we have Oreo cookie phases, activities. You could make dessert all about moon phases. We'd love for you to be creative. So if there's something that you can plan or something that you can make it a moon themed event, great. If you do participate, we'd love for you to register. And actually, if you go to our website and just take a look at some of the resources that we have, like it might be something you can do at home with your family or with a scout group or with whoever you're working with in your community or just your friends. So we'd love for you to participate in some way or observe in some way that's meaningful and special to you, and let us know about it. Like it'd be so fun to hear what you're doing, and it'd be so fun for you to share what you're doing with others around the world so that you can feel that sense of community and see how others around the world are joining in.
Yeah. For listeners, I am going to link all the information to the website and everything about International Observe the Moon Day in the show notes below, so you can check it out there. In closing, if you'd like to give a message to the global community about the importance of observing and understanding the moon, what would you say?
Oh, that's a tall order there. So I would say it's a wonderful moment. There's a lot of like adventures that happen and a lot of quiet moments under the moon. And this is our moon. We are one people on this planet, and we all share a moon. And from there, we are launching into deeper exploration of space in terms of technology development. We're going back to the moon with people. We're going on to Mars. We're going out into the solar system, and the moon is helping enable that. But it's also something that has been important to people, forever. It's helped us shape our calendars and figure out timing. And, who knows, maybe even helped life start on Earth with the tides. I mean, there's a lot of reasons that the moon is so important to us and has been incorporated into our language and our culture and our stories. And this is just a moment to take some time to appreciate that and to learn more, if you are so inclined, on whatever path is most interesting to you. And I hope you will.
Thank you. Is there anything else you'd like to add about the program?
I don't think so. I think this is great. But if you'd like to learn more, visit our website, moon.nasa.gov/observe. We have contact us buttons on there. We have lots more information. We check our email. So definitely let us know if you have any questions. We have a host webinar that is recorded on our website. It's going to be filmed on August 7th, but it will be available throughout the time leading up to the program. And we do this every year. So just, I hope you get a moment to not only participate in this, but also really appreciate it and like take some time. When I host an event, I always have to be like, stop, look at the moon, go enjoy this myself. And so a lot of you out there, I bet, are rushing around and hosting events, especially if you're in astronomy clubs, leading all of these things, but just make sure you get your moment as well.
That's great advice. Andrea, I want to thank you for coming on the podcast today.
Thank you so much.
Well, that'll do it for this episode of the Observer's Notebook podcast. Again, I want to thank Andrea Jones from the International Observe the Moon Night coming on and being our guest. Let's get out there and observe the moon that night, everybody, and let her know. Go to their website. You'll really enjoy all the valuable information on there. We upload a new episode of the Observer's Notebook on the 1st and 15th of every day. You can also listen to us on Apple Radio, iHeartRadio, SoundCloud, Spreaker, Google Play, Stitcher, Amazon Echo, Spotify, and the podcast is also available on the ALPO YouTube channel. You can help support the podcast by donating to it via Patreon by giving up to $35 a month, where you'll receive 1 year's membership to the ALPO and producer credits on the podcast. With that, I'd like to thank the producers of this podcast, Siedentop and Michael Moyer, for their generous support. The link for Patreon, as well as the link for the ALPO, is in the show notes. You can contact me via email at commentman@commentman.net or on Twitter at ObserversNBpod. Until next time, I hope you always have clear and steady skies. Thanks for listening.